Hello friends and welcome back to my channel for another episode of Summer of Stories. Today we are tackling the first section, and that is the letter A. So for today we're going to focus on a story that has something to do with the letter A, and this one's a little bit different. I'm starting off with this crepe paper, Boys Rule paper. It's got sort of this vintage chevron look to it, and I have two photos for this layout, which are two landscape photos. Now, if you guys remember, my How to Kill a Kit with Style for the month is 6x6 paper pads, and I will say, while I did use a single sheet of 6x6 paper on this paper pad, most of the layouts throughout the month won't be that. But I am trying to focus on the stories of these layouts rather than the design, trying to really get the mood and feel onto this layout. And it so happens that I sort of stumbled upon something that worked really well for this. And all that I'm doing right now is looking through die cuts that I don't end up using. But they are very beautiful, and I thought they went with the theme here. So you might not be able to tell what these two photos are of. The top one right now is a cannon looking over a field, and then the bottom one is barracks with a trench in the middle, so sort of emulating that there was once a war here. So this is called the Antietam battlefield. It's in Maryland. We got to visit this when we lived in Maryland. Absolutely epic site. This is the first battlefield I really ever went to visit, and it was absolutely breathtaking. It did rain the whole time, but it's a little bit of a driving tour because it is so large, and they have preserved so much of it, like those like the trench you can see there. That's the actual trench that was used in the war. It's permanently there. So many monuments, so much stuff to see. And it was really, really impressive. So that's what I'm going to be using for my letter A today, is this Antietam battlefield, and that'll be part of my title. Now, if you guys don't know what the Summer of Stories are, I will direct you to the link in the description that explains it much better than I could right now during this process video. But essentially, throughout the summer, I'm doing something a little bit different on my channel, and you guys can learn more over there. So I had a lot of requests to use this One Canoe 2 6x6 paper pad. This is the Goldenrod collection, and I pulled out this one paper here that's a scene, which I thought I'd never be able to use these papers, but guys, I cannot even tell you how much this looks like the battlefield in person. We weren't there at sunset, and this is more of a sunset look, but they do have this on the maps. They have a giant tree, and it's called the White Tree, I believe, and it's historically known that you would meet up at that tree during the battle, etc. So it was like an iconic piece of the battle itself during the Civil War. So I'm going to be using these washi tape strips here to sort of create a border around my photos and give them somewhere to sit. This does end up being a very, very, very basic layout, and like I said, I'm focusing on the story with these. I'm not just doing a bunch of fluff just to make it look pretty. I just want to focus on the story. And this one's a little simpler, but I will say that throughout the rest of the months here in the summer series that we're doing, they will get a little bit more intense. And I will say this is also a very short process video. So I do pull out some more of the goldenrod items that I have in my collection. I pull out the ephemera pieces and pull out one little globe tag there that says the word Seek. I thought that went well with it pulls in more of that pink color, which is totally not a battlefield or historic color by any means, but it just goes so well with the layout. And I'll be talking in my journaling how this 6x6 sort of painted look looks just like the battlefield did in the real life. So as I'm going here, I'm going to create a cluster on the top left, and then my title is going to go in that awkward space between the 6x6 paper and the photos above that. I think that'll work out nicely. But I know a lot of people struggle with these 6x6 papers, but I think just letting them shine on their own is a great way to use them if they remind you of something like they did here for me, or if they're just like, if you wanted to use this as a divider for a mini album, that'd be great. Just put a word across it, maybe like enjoy or relax. That'd be perfect for this because it does, emulate that sort of feeling. So there's that cluster in the top left forming with some more of these stickers that I had that are pretty old from my stash. I believe those are Creative Memory stickers. Super, super old. But I'm using some of those to bring in more of the pinks and greens. And this is the font I go with to spell out the title, the first half of my title. And these are some Pink Fresh Studio wood veneer white dipped alphabets, which I really love wood veneer. And since I do pull these in, I will pull in some more wood veneer to give it a little bit more texture. So this is evidence of the visual triangle a lot of people talk about, is to bring in 3 elements that are similar in color, size, shape, texture, anything under the sun that are similar that will move your eye around the page. So I decided that wood veneer is going to be that item for this page. Visual triangles are not required on every page. That's just something I like to do to help move the eye around the page. Now with these Paper Studio small stickers, I'm going to spell out the rest of my title, which just says Battlefield, but I think it provides a lot more contrast that this layout needed. So the layout's pretty plain right now. It just looks like 3 photos, but one's painting, more or less. I do look through some of my other stickers. Again, I do have some of the Goldenrod collection, none of the 12x12s, just a lot of the accessories. I pull out a word that says adventure. It's a green phrase strip from that 6x12 cardstock sheet. And I'm going to pull out some of these gold plus signs. Now there is gold on the round alphabets there. It's black with a gold foil on it. And I'm going to pull those out to add, again, another visual triangle. So there's going to be 3 plus signs, and that will help with that. But the green starts getting pulled in because the washi tape I laid on the left-hand side, which is by Jen Hadfield, had some green stripes on it. So those tie in nicely together. Now I just want to look through some wood veneer here that would match my layout. And what I end up pulling out is a small camera, because again I'm capturing the likeness of this painting versus the photos of the real-life battlefield that I've printed out. And then originally I also looked for a word that could work, but I ended up going with an arrow instead. That seemed to work out better. And I just glue those down with my Scotch Quick Dry. Once those are in place, I think I am done with this layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this simple version of a way to use those scenic 6x6 papers that are often in the One Canoe 2 section or selections. But I really enjoy that top left cluster. I think it brings the page together. But I really wanted there to be a solemnness to this layout because, again, it is a battlefield. Thousands of people died there. So it's a really sombering moment to see this vast land and know that so many people laid foot here and didn't get to lay another foot again. So I'm just reflecting on that with the journaling on this layout that I add in later. But that is it for this episode of Summer of Stories. I hope you guys enjoyed this sweet version. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.